In this video, we are going to review what has been learned from Unit 2, Lessons 5 through 8. To complete this review, you will need your iControl student workbook and something to write with. If you do not have what you need at this time, please pause the video and press play when you're ready to continue. If you do not need to view all of the lessons in this video, feel free to skip to the lessons you need to view using the start times provided. In Lesson 5, you're going to learn that planning for how you will accomplish a goal can help you be more successful. You have to set a realistic goal that matters to you and that you're committed to accomplishing. But you need to realize it will take some effort to achieve. Start by locating handout 5.1 in your student workbook. In the box titled Goal Planning, write one New Year's resolution you've made in the past or are still working on. When you're done, press play. One strategy that can help you accomplish a goal, like your New Year's resolution, is reality checking. Reality checking is thinking about what it really takes to achieve your goal, then imagining the steps you need to take and what your goal will look like when you reach it. Think positively about reaching your goal and be realistic about what you need to do to get there and any barriers that might get in the way. For example, Grace loves to play sports and has a goal of making a softball team. First, Grace mentally imagines what it would feel like to be on the softball team and starts to feel a lot of pride and excitement. Next, Grace thinks about what steps she needs to take and the barriers that may stand in the way of achieving her goal. She realizes she needs to improve her hitting. Now she has identified something she can work on to reach her goal. Pause the video to locate the goal worksheet in your workbook and visualize what it will be like when you accomplish your goal. Think about where you will be, what people will be saying, and how you will feel. When you're done, press play. Ask yourself, what are some steps that must be done to accomplish my goal? What barriers come to mind that might get in my way? Now turn to handout 5.1 and write down your answers to these questions. When you're done, press play. Sometimes goals are easy to accomplish and take little effort, and sometimes goals are so hard that you can't figure out the steps you would take to reach them. You need to set goals that are somewhere in the middle. Not too easy, but not too hard. They need to be goals you have to work for, but can realistically achieve. Pause the video and turn to the second page of the goal worksheet. In the box, How I Will Accomplish My Goal, write the steps you need to take based on what you wrote on handout 5.1. When you're done, press play. Let's turn to the content questions for Unit 2, Lesson 5 in your iControl student workbook to check your understanding of this lesson. Pause the video while you answer the questions. When you're done, press play. For question 1, if you selected C, you are correct. When you think positively and realistically about achieving your goal, you are using a strategy called reality checking. For question 2, if you selected C, you are correct. Reality checking helps you keep motivated to accomplish your goal and helps you identify barriers that may get in the way of accomplishing it. In Lesson 6, you will learn about if-then plans by asking yourself questions and then answering them. What do I do if I come to a red light? What do I do if a door is closed and I want to get in? What do I do if I am an outfielder and the baseball is hit towards me? If you come to a red light, then you put your foot on the brake until the car stops. If a door is closed and you want to get in, then you turn the doorknob and pull. If the ball is hit towards you in the outfield, then you run to catch it. In these situations, there was an automatic if-then plan. If something happened, then you knew what to do. You didn't really have to think about it much. One reason some people have trouble accomplishing their goal is they don't plan what they will do when in challenging or difficult situations. A strategy for thinking ahead is using if-then plans. If-then plans are made by thinking about your goal and deciding what you will do ahead of time in specific situations. You need to set up a routine in advance so when the if comes along, then you know what action to take. For example, if you're hungry and want a snack, then you'll choose to eat something healthy. If you're getting nervous during a test, then you'll take a deep breath and try to refocus. If you want to make the team, then you will practice after school every day. To make strong if-then plans, you need to visualize what you'll do, not what you won't do. Think positively. For example, a good plan would be, if someone shoves me, I'll take a deep breath, rather than if someone shoves me, I won't shove them back. If-then plans help you think ahead and plan how you will act in specific situations, but sometimes you run into temptations. Temptations are a type of barrier that cause you to lose sight of your goals or get off track. Having an if-then plan helps you avoid getting caught up in those temptations. You can use impulse control to avoid temptations. Making a strong if-then plan requires 4 things. Focus on what you will do and not what you will not do. Think ahead, visualize, and consider temptations that could get in the way and plan for them. Let's practice making strong if-then plans by focusing on what we will do, not what we will not do. Let's look at Devonte. Devonte wants to play on the high school basketball team next year. He knows that he needs to practice if he wants to make the team. To reach Devonte's goal, his if-then plan might be, if I want to make the basketball team, then I must practice for at least 1 hour every day. Now turn to handout 6.1. Read each goal and if-then plan. Then come up with another if-then plan for each goal. Write your answers in the green and purple boxes provided. When you're done, press play. Let's do the same thing with your personal goal. Turn to the second page of your goal worksheet and think of the if-then plans that could help you in specific situations that might make it difficult to achieve your goal. If you have several barriers getting in the way of achieving your goal, think of more than one if-then plan. Look back at the barriers you listed on the first page of your goal worksheet. Pause the video while you write down your if-then plan. When you're done, press play. Let's turn to the content questions for Unit 2, Lesson 6 in your iControl student workbook to check your understanding of this lesson. Pause the video while you answer the questions. When you're done, press play. For question 1, if you selected C, you are correct. If-then plans help you plan how to act in certain situations. For question 2, if you selected B, you are correct. If-then plans help you avoid temptation. Now that you have learned how to plan to achieve goals, you'll learn in Lesson 7 how to think about and practice the things you need to do to stay on track. This is called goal monitoring. It helps you keep track of how well you're doing as you work towards your goals. By monitoring your goals, you can develop good habits that will help you consistently do the right thing and reject the temptations that get in the way of achieving your goals and changing your behaviors. Monitoring is like keeping a record of how you're doing. For example, people might monitor their weight loss, performance, chores, and spending by making charts to keep track of their progress. As you work toward a goal, there may be chances to give in to temptation, but if you use if-then plans, you are more likely to stay on track. When you monitor your if-then plans, you can see when you are doing well, when you are not, and can develop consistent habits that will help you achieve your goal. For example, a teacher is trying to eat healthier, but every day someone leaves donuts in the teacher's lunchroom. She decides even if there are donuts, then she'll choose to eat fruit instead. She needs to be consistent about her choice to eat fruit. If she takes a donut one day, it may be easier to fall for the temptation the next day, but if she sticks to her if-then plan, she'll have a better chance of being successful in the future. She decides to make a chart so she can monitor the choices that she makes. You're going to create your own form to monitor your goal using your if-then plans. Before you do that, let's look at an example. In this example, they set a goal of exercising to get stronger and healthier. To stay on track, their if-then statement is, if it's 5 p.m. on a weekday, I will go to the gym to work out. To monitor their daily progress, they recorded whether or not their then action was completed by circling yes or no, and wrote down what affected their ability to complete their then action. On May 2nd, they circled yes to indicate they completed their then action. They wrote down that their friend texting them to remind them to go to the gym affected their ability to complete this action. On May 3rd, they circled no to indicate they did not complete their then action. Being sore from the day before affected their ability to complete their then action of going to the gym. Another important part of goal monitoring is goal evaluation. When you evaluate something, you think about how it's going, how important it is, and what you want or need to do about it. At some point, you evaluate your progress and decide if you should complete the goal, change the goal, or continue with the goal. To evaluate whether to complete, change, or continue your goal, you consider how motivated you are, how confident you are that you can finish, and may also consider the feedback you get from other people. For example, Danny set a goal to learn how to speak German. He soon realized he knew more people who spoke Spanish, so he began to learn to speak Spanish. After evaluating his goal, he decided to change his goal to learning Spanish because he could use Spanish more than German. Now turn to the second page of your goal worksheet. You should have already filled in your if-then statement. If you just filled in your if-then statement today, feel free to complete this chart in a few days once you have had a chance to make progress. Do your best to think about what has occurred since you wrote your if-then statement, whether you did or did not complete the action, and what helped or prevented you along the way. If you are ready to complete the chart today, pause the video and press play when you are done. Let's turn to the content questions for Unit 2, Lesson 7 in your iControl Student Workbook to check your understanding of this lesson. Pause the video while you answer the questions. When you're done, press play. For question 1, if you selected C, you are correct. Goal monitoring helps you to consistently do the right thing and helps you to reject temptations. For question 2, if you selected B, you are correct. Evaluating your goal helps you decide to complete, change, or continue your goal. In Lesson 8, you will review what you learned in the last 3 lessons about reality checking, if-then plans, and goal monitoring and evaluation. Reality checking helps you to visualize your goals. You might close your eyes and think about what it will look, feel, and sound like when you reach your goal. You imagine the steps you need to take and what your goal will look like when you reach it. Finally, you think positively about achieving your goal while being realistic about what it will take to get there and the barriers that might get in the way. Remember that if-then plans help you to plan ahead and decide the best way to act in specific situations through focusing on what you will do, thinking ahead, visualizing, and considering the temptations that could get in the way and plan for them. If you have several barriers making it difficult to reach your goal, you need to make more than one if-then plan. Finally, monitor your if-then plans and evaluate your progress so you can decide whether to complete, continue, or change your goals. Let's look at an example of each decision. Joe's goal was to improve his math grade. He went from a C average to a B average this semester. This could be a completed goal, but he also might want to change it and aim for a B+ next semester. Kenya's goal was to play on the school basketball team this year. She didn't make the team. This could be an example of a goal change because she might want to change sports or join a club. She could also continue practicing and try out next year. Dante's goal is to have a better relationship with his younger brother. He's been letting his brother hang out with him. They've been fighting less. He could continue this goal because he might want to improve the relationship even more. Reality checking, if-then plans, and goal monitoring and evaluation also require shifting, working memory, and impulse control. You use shifting when thinking about the different things you could do when encountering a barrier to your goal. You use working memory when making if-then plans. You think about all the temptations distracting you from your goal, and you use this information to make a plan. You use impulse control to avoid giving in to temptation and instead stay on track to successfully complete your goal. What do you imagine it would be like to achieve your goal? What steps do you need to take to reach your goal? Now turn to handout 8.1, where you will write down your goal and the steps needed to reach it in the ladder. Look back at handout 5.1 if you forgot the steps you originally created. The ladder has space for 6 steps. If you don't have that many steps, then start with the step that will give you the correct number. For example, if you only have 3 steps, start on the 3rd step below the goal. Pause the video to write your steps on handout 8.1. When you're done, press play. You also learned how to monitor your goals, but there are many ways to do so. You can use charts or graphics and other people who agree to help you stay on track to monitor your goals. Here's an example of a boy who wants to earn money for a bike and uses the goal-setting steps to help him reach his goal. He sets a goal, thinks about what it will take to reach the goal, and identifies sources and barriers. He then makes an if-then plan and decides to use a thermometer to keep track of how much money he has earned. By using these steps, he is more likely to complete his goal and buy a new bike. Let's turn to the content questions for Unit 2, Lesson 8 in your iControl Student Workbook to check your understanding of this lesson. Pause the video while you answer the questions. When you're done, press play. For question 1, if you selected A, you are correct. Camille has a goal of going on the class field trip. Her dad will let her go if she does her homework every night. Her if-then plan states that if she is tempted to hang out with her friends, then she'll do homework with her sister instead. To monitor how she's doing, Camille should track her if-then plan every day. For question 2, if you selected B, you are correct. If-then plans help us plan ahead and decide the best way to act in all situations. Thank you for taking time to catch up with iControl today. In the following lessons, you'll continue to learn how to control your emotions.